the non-lethal weapons have been touted very heavily as being life-saving mechanisms, so that you can use force without endangering human life. What I've noticed, the pattern I've noticed, and we saw this a lot when people were protesting the world the what is it, the free trade, the World Trade Organizations, whatever they were when they were here. Um, is that when the police have an option for a non-lethal weapon, whether it's a noisemaker, whether it's tear gas, pepper spray, tasers, all of that stuff, rubber bullets. There's another one that's like bean bags. It's like little grenade launchers that fire bean bags at people. That they tend to use
What?
them. They tend to use them a lot more readily than they
Yeah.
would otherwise use a weapon or
So
some
more
sort of
people are actually getting
physical
into it. Yeah.
force. Right. So the downside to the non-lethal is there's almost carte blanche to use it whenever you want to, whenever it feels appropriate. There was a case actually here in Davis, California. There was a party, and it was actually one of the gentlemen who was throwing the party went out to talk to the police to find out, because there was a noise complaint or something like that, which is annoying. I always get annoyed. This is a college town. People moved to this town and like, my neighbors are noisy and throwing late night parties. You moved to a college town. This has been going on here since there was a college in a town, and you moved here a couple years ago. Yes, you paid a lot of money for your home because it's a safe community, it's a nice educated community, it's an affluent community, all these things, but it's also a college town. There are, parties. Anyway, the point was, mid-conversation with the police, explaining, finding out what the complaint was, what he had to do to comply, so he could keep his party going, whether it's moving people to the back, whatever. Police tasered him. Police tasered him mid-conversation. To all witness reports, it was literally like, I'm sitting here talking to the police, and one moment, and all of a sudden they decided they wanted the conversation to end, so they turned him off. Just, So I don't actually like non-lethal weapons in the hands of police forces. From what I've seen already, they get used quicker and more voraciously than they would otherwise. Otherwise, police would have to resort to tactics of negotiation, crowd control, and that sort of thing. On the other hand, there is a place for it. I just don't think that there's enough of a limitation thus far on when they're getting employed.
Hmm.
I mean, I've seen it where at several different types of people protesting things, whether it's World Trade, or I've seen it in what do you call it? Protesting logging, when they were doing a sit-in in front of a logging company up north, where the police were actually putting the pepper spray into people's eyes directly. I mean, it turns into people who are, on the ground doing the arm length thing, trying to create a sit-in sort of thing, being sprayed directly in the face by police officers. In one case, I even seen it where they were cotton swabbing it on people's eyes. And I mean, it just becomes,
What?
it becomes a medieval torture, and gets overused. So, totally against non-lethal weapons. If you're going to shoot somebody, you should shoot somebody. And if it hasn't gotten to that point yet, people should be allowed to protest. So.